If you've been watching the channel for a while, you know that me and the Triumph Street Triple have something of an interesting relationship. But this is my Triumph Street Triple RS. It's a 2022, and I've been riding this thing around for the past, 3 months. And I think I can finally say I understand this motorcycle now. And after riding it for so long, I'm actually really gonna miss it when we finally give it away. Alrighty folks, I do want to take a quick second and walk you through some of the mods that are on here, because this is no longer a stock motorcycle, as you can probably tell. I have modded this thing not quite 6 ways from Sunday, but this is, I think, as close to an ideal street triple that I would want if I was going to be keeping this thing, because my experience tells me that this is essentially one of the best ways to have it. So first and foremost, we have the Motodemic round headlight kit. This thing has made such a nice difference to the look of the bike. I think it looks a lot meaner. The shoulders of the bike look a lot broader. I know that a lot of people think I ruined the bike by doing that, but I did a poll, and over 50% of people think that that is the way that the bike should look. If the winner decides they don't like this, it's really easy to go back to stock. I also have, from a buddy of mine, I don't have this in a video yet, but I installed the heated grips. They get so warm that on the hottest temperature, I can't quite hold on to it comfortably when I'm cruising. And then lastly, you can see we have these beautiful SW Motec bags. These are basically like the nicest throwover saddlebag set I've ever put on a motorcycle, because they have their own hanger brackets right here that go right on the passenger pegs. This is now like the ultimate commuting weapon right now. The only thing it's missing is cruise control. I don't get it. It's cruise control ready. It doesn't actually have cruise control. That's fucking stupid, Triumph. But now that we're getting rolling, I do want to remind you real quick, this is a giveaway motorcycle. I'm not keeping this thing. The giveaway ends next week, next Sunday, January 29th. And you can get entered by clicking that link down in the description below. That's going to go directly to supporting me and Fan of Them. They're allowing me to get these bikes that I can give away to you and make cool content with. But some people may be surprised to hear that I don't want to give this thing away now. I bet a lot of people out there are kind of glad to hear it finally, because I do have kind of a cantankerous history with the Street Triple. For the longest time, I just could never get with it, because my issue with the bike wasn't that it had problems, it's just that it felt soulless to me. And I know a lot of people hear that and say, oh, you want a bad motorcycle. No, I don't want a bad motorcycle. I want a motorcycle that feels alive. It's possible to have a really great motorcycle that feels alive, that feels like it's encouraging you to have fun. And for the longest time, this bike wasn't really encouraging me to have fun. I have a whole deep dive review going into the Street Triple R, not the RS, that basically goes into all of my issues. And then I have the reveal video, which is basically a soft review on the RS here. And I said, this is a phenomenal motorcycle. It's a really great bike. It doesn't feel like it's for me. But I've made some changes to this bike that are making it for me. And we'll talk about all that in a second, but I do want to talk about one thing really quick right here at the top, and that is this motorcycle as a 2022 is not meaningfully different enough from the modern 2025, 2026 Street Triples to make a difference. I know a lot of guys in the comment section below are going to say, oh, you got to ride a 2026 Street Triple. It's so much better. No, it's not. I'm sorry. It's not. It has some changes to the IMU, and it has stylema calipers. Woohoo! Good work, guys. That sure is a real different motorcycle, isn't it? It's not like it's the RX that has the fancy Olins and the clip-ons. That is a different motorcycle. The Street Triple RS, it's not a different bike from the one that I'm riding now. And before we get into the good stuff, I do want to talk about some of the stuff that does annoy me on this bike, because there is some stuff on here that if this were my bike, I need to mod away first. Most of what I'm going to talk about here, the bad stuff on the Street Triple, it's actually kind of just nitpicky stuff because there's not really a ton of bad things on this motorcycle. So the first thing that really annoys me is I broke this, the reservoir. I have another one on the way already, so it'll get fixed. But yeah, it was a little bit brittle and I put too much weight on it while I was working at AF1 and it broke. Oh well, sometimes $50 sounds a lot like cracking plastic. But one of the things that really does annoy me on this motorcycle is the handlebars, because this is a triple cylinder motorcycle and triples are inherently unbalanced, which means when you're starting to ride this thing on the highway, especially at higher RPMs where this motor is happiest, it's very, very buzzy. If this were my motorcycle, what I'd do is I'd get those clamps that replace the back half of these perch mounts that have mirror stems to them, so you can actually screw in mirrors here. They're pretty cheap, actually, and Brembo makes them, so that you can delete these and then put an actual bar end weight, something that's properly heavy on the end of this thing. First of all, it would allow me to grab the bar like this, like I really like to, and I wouldn't have to worry about this bar being here. But most importantly, it would help smooth out the handlebars a little bit. Another thing I would do is I would put a set of tech spec tank grips right here. Unfortunately, you would cover up the RS. I mentioned this in my first video on the Street Triple RS here, and people said just get the clear ones. The problem with clear ones is they yellow. So I would rather just cover up the logo and have the right tank grip, but it is unfortunate because this actually looks great. If you're okay with that slightly faded and yellow look right here, then go for it, but I don't know. The black tech specs, they never go out of style. This next one is definitely personal taste, but for me, I would put the Rizoma lowering pegs on here. I know people are gonna say that's sacrilege, but the reality is I'm not pushing this motorcycle hard enough on the street to grind the pegs. And if I was at a racetrack, it's really easy to swap back and forth, just so that I could have like an extra ½ inch of room while I'm riding. It would make it a lot more comfortable for street duty. That one is definitely a result of me being 6'3" in my boots. If you're shorter, that's not gonna be a problem for you. Lastly, and something I was really hoping I'd learn to like, I do not like the dashboard one bit on this motorcycle. Like, okay, I get it. It's kind of nice that it tells me good evening when it boots up, but I hate this layout. I really, really hate this. I've got a bunch of different layouts in here. Let's see if I can find them real quick. You can switch between these styles, and yeah, I mean, some are better than others, but I don't know. I haven't found one that I like yet. This is for sure a motorcycle that, even though it has a TFT dash, I would install this Chigee on here so that I could have like Google Maps on my phone and stuff. Another reason why the Chigee would be really nice on this is because it has forward and rearward facing dash cams. So when you're on the track, you can actually track your laps super easily right to this thing, and it's got a little SD card right there. I like using Chigee dashboards on older motorcycles because it helps modernize the look, and then on modern bikes, it's really nice because it means you don't have to mount your phone to your handlebars. Because let's face it, trying to navigate your phone on a motorcycle sucks, even with gloves that work with a touchscreen. Thankfully, Chigee dashboards have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay built in. If you're interested in checking one of these out for yourself, click that link down in the description below where you can get 10% off your order with the code SPITESCORNER. And the cool thing is, Evotech actually makes a mount for the Chigee, so if you wanted to swap your phone out for it, you could actually just plonk it right on here. The thing is, the simple mods are what really helped this bike for me. First and foremost, flipping the fucking mirrors over made such a big difference in the rideability of this bike for me. And I know it sounds silly, I really do. But the thing is, I like to ride a motorcycle like this. Right? I like to sit like this on the bike. I've got wide shoulders. I like to stick my elbows out, and I like to move my upper body when I'm going through corners. That's just how I ride motorcycles. And by having the mirrors upright, I couldn't get into the position that felt comfortable for me. My hands were stuck like this, basically. And I'd have to like turn my elbow out and kind of twist my wrist. It just didn't feel good. And as a result, I know this is going to sound stupid, I wasn't twisting the throttle hard enough. Whew, little wheelie there. The throttle throw on this thing is a lot longer than you'd expect. And there is just a teensy bit of a flat spot in the mid to low power band, so it doesn't feel like it hits nearly as hard as it should. But then once you get rolling and you actually get moving on the bike, it has this really nice punch. And the chassis is so tight, and the suspension is so good, and the brakes are so competent that it really rewards being pushed. And I really regret not taking this thing to the racetrack when I had the opportunity. I was really considering taking this to COTA in November for the last track day of the season, but I decided to take my Super Duke, and honestly, I really wish I took this. This would have been a really great bike to ride on COTA, and I'm bummed that I didn't have that opportunity. I was just an idiot. I could have done one day on each bike, but I decided to do them both on the Super Duke because I wanted to go fast. But flipping the mirrors, seriously, it sounds stupid, and I know it, but it allows me to just be more comfortable twisting the throttle all the way open. Another thing that's so nice about this Street Triple is the power is so well tuned on it. And I actually have, because I spun it on the dyno, I have the dyno numbers for this bike. And I can tell you right now that it is making 102 horsepower on the AF1 dyno. Now it's got an 80% correction factor, or a 20% correction factor, so it's reading a little bit lower. You can anticipate that number to actually be closer to about 110, 115 on a different dyno. The thing is, the horsepower is straight up and down. It's like a rise and run of 1. It's incredible. But that's, to me, not exactly where I'd like to be. Again, I'm a V-twin purist. I really like the big punch of torque, and I'm okay sacrificing some top-end horsepower if I get that face-melting, jarring pile of power, right in the middle of the power band. I do wish there was a little bit more in the initial power band, right? The horsepower is a little bit low right out of the gate. Yeah, there's some good torque, but it's just, I don't know, it feels a little bit sluggish. Maybe it's the technology, I have no clue. Or maybe I'm just leaving it too low in the power band, and I gotta be screaming everywhere. But that's something I never really gelled with when it comes to triples. But I will tell you what's made the biggest difference, and I know people are gonna laugh. What's made the biggest difference for me is actually the headlight. See, I know people are gonna laugh when I'm like, I like this bike now that it has the headlight, but I'm not alone in being one of those people where I would never purchase one of these bikes for myself with that stock headlight on there. This has made it just so much more right up my alley. And that there's no discounting aesthetic horsepower, guys. There really isn't. The Super Duke being this big, ugly, brutal, angry thing works for me, but the headlights that were on here from the factory, I didn't like the look back factor. But now that it's sitting in my garage with this headlight, it feels so much cooler to look at. And I want to reach for the keys more. And because I'm reaching for the keys more, I'm spending more time in the saddle. I'm getting to know this motorcycle more. Again, you can't discount the aesthetic horsepower. So let's enter the fourth act here. Do I feel completely different about the Triumph Street Triple? Not really. If I'm going to be perfectly honest, I still feel like this motorcycle is every bit as good as it was when I first bought it. I just feel like I have now gotten to know it a little bit more, and as a result, I can kind of appreciate it a little bit better. Because, goddamn, on the side of the tire, this is just excellent. There is no getting away from how razor sharp this bike is. And if I'd have gotten the suspension tuned and did the track day, it would feel so much nicer. And would I run out and buy a Street Triple for myself? I'm still not sure, honestly. I'm honestly still not sure. I know Whitney would. Whitney would do it just because of the headlight. If you watch that video, there's a couple of people who would buy this motorcycle now that it has the round headlight on there. Would I buy it? Probably not. If it had a V-twin, if it was an SV1000, maybe I would buy it. But I completely appreciate it now. I acknowledge its right to exist. And now that I have it and it's fully set up, I'm really bummed that it's leaving. I'm really bummed that it's going away. I'm not going to run out and add another one to the garage, but this is such a nice bike. It's such a nice bike. And I really wish I had the opportunity to take it to a racetrack. Oh, that's so good. It is so good. I just love my Super Duke more. I love twins more. You know what they say, two's company, three's a crowd. And I think that's true when it comes to motors. But let me know all of your thoughts down in the comments below. Let me know what you think of the bike with the mods. Because right now it's like the perfect commuter weapon. You could do anything you want with this. A little bit of light touring, you know, commuting to the office every day, going to a racetrack, you just take the saddlebags off. Don't forget, while you're down there, get yourself entered to win. You have less than a week to get it done. So check that out down there, and I'm going to call it a day. I'm going to keep riding this thing, though. I got to go get gas. I also have to fix this because, yeah, that broke. I broke it while I was working on it. It's just brittle. So I've got another one on the way. It'll be fixed and ready to roll by the time it gets given away, and I'm going to sadly have to send this thing to the winner because, god damn it, it's so good. It's so good. Catch you guys in the next one. See you later.